everybody, it's Becky Pearson with Pivot Point of View, and tonight I have the great honor of being joined by Mr. Dru Melvin. He's a professional steer wrestler, and now he is dad extraordinaire, and he is diving into the world of entrepreneurship and selling arena drags. And so I wanted to have Dru on here because we did a little talking via text messaging about this great tool that he has, this Outlaw Arena Drag. And, ground matters when it comes to competition with your horse. We all want to be safe. We want to keep the horses safe. We want to keep the riders safe. And so I thought this was a great opportunity to visit with Dru about just all those things and see if we can get a little education tonight on ground and how to prep it. So, welcome to the podcast, Dru. It's great to have you.
Yes, thanks for having me. And yes, this is a great topic, and it should be a topic that if you're a producer or even have your home arena, to how to make it better. And that's how I started looking into drags and stuff. I mean, we had an old spring tooth that we thought was just the greatest thing ever because it was given to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then come to find out it was perfect. It was perfect for steer wrestling ground. But then as I got, my girls are wanting to run barrels, my wife runs barrels, and the price of these horses nowadays, holy, why not protect your investment?
Absolutely. And that's, we talk about that all the time. Like, if you are not riding well, you're not protecting your investment because you could go spend 100,000 on a horse, but if you ride like crap, that's not going to be $100,000 horse in a month,
Yeah.
And so same thing, like if you are not taking care of the ground that it runs on, again, that horse is going to be less valuable if it is crippled for sure. So let's go back, Dru, and tell us a little bit about you, how you got your start in steer wrestling, where you grew up, all those things.
Yep. So I grew up in a small ranching community outside of Tryon, Nebraska, in the Sandhills there. Grew up on a ranch, loved it out there, still love it, and went into rodeo, and I mean played all sports through high school, very small school. Went into rodeo, and you know I succeeded in steer wrestling at a later date. But I didn't even make the high school finals, and I made the state finals, but I never made national finals that are going on right now. And in the steer wrestling, I made it in the team roping, but never made it in the steer wrestling. And then went on to college. Went to Pratt Community College for 2 years, and then went to Southwestern Oklahoma State in Weatherford, Oklahoma, for 2.5, and got my degree in park and recreational management, and then went on rodeoing from there, and rodeoed. I rodeoed pretty hard from 2005 to 2018, 19, when I started slowing down a little bit. My kids we started having kids in 2013. So me and my wife Brittany, we have 5 children, and range from 11 to 3, and we have multiples in there. We got 11, 2 9s, a 7, and a 3-year-old. And
Wow.
so and then my wife's got a 42-year-old that she has to take care of as well, and myself. So it was busy for a long time, rodeoing and everything. We got to see all the greatest parts of the country, and I was fortunate enough to make the national finals twice. And it just opened so many doors. Like the job, I work for Aurora Cooperative right now selling feed, and I do this sell this on the side. But man, I met so many people rodeoing, and then got to see the best parts of the country at the best times of the year. And sometimes Texas in the wintertime when they have them ice storms is not as fun. But yes, but I mean most of the time when it's super nice, yeah, it couldn't be any better place in the wintertime. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And the 5 kids will keep you busy for sure.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So do you still rodeo now? You were at Buffalo Bill this summer, weren't you? I believe.
Yep. North Platte's been the only one I entered. We have our Melvin Swanson Halligan Memorial that we helped put on. This year was the first year we had it at the Buffalo Bill,
Mm,
and it's an awesome event, and we love it. It's a memorial for my dad and Swede Swanson, or
mm,
my dad Wayne, and then Swede Swanson and Harrison Halligan.
mm.
And this year was our 19th year of having it because
Wow.
my dad in Swede passed away in 2005, 2006, and then Harrison passed away a few years later than that. But I mean, if you talk about steer wrestling in the state of Nebraska, especially in the North Platte area, I mean those three names get brought up a lot, especially Harrison and Swede. And then my dad was influenced a lot of young steer wrestlers and myself as well. I got started steer wrestling. I started in 6th grade. Went to a steer wrestling school that I actually help put on now in Ogallala, Nebraska,
Mm,
and with Paul Cleveland and J.C. Jensen and Todd Westover were putting it on, and then Todd and Randy Soon come back and helped, and then later on Garrett Noakes came back, and then myself, and then now like a current star, Stetson Jorgensen's been coming back. Jason Johnston, probably one of the best steer wrestlers that never really went real hard.
mhm,
And but I mean, if you look at his three boys and then everybody that he's helped, my goodness, you know he knows what he's talking about. So between
mhm.
Paul and Jason and myself last year at the steer wrestling school, and then I think we last year we had 43 kids that
Wow.
that were there in Ogallala for 3 days and learning the sport. And man, it's just fun to give back, to, especially that something that I hold dear to my heart, especially steer wrestling, rodeo in general. There's a lot of life lessons that you can learn on the back of a horse and stuff, and it's just um, and I'm it's kind of one of them deals. My two girls really like to ride, and my
Mm,
youngest really likes to ride. My older two boys don't really care for it yet,
mm,
but I mean that's fine too, and that's what my wife Brittany and I have talked about that a lot. Just they got to find their own path if they want to, and we'll have everything available if they want to. But yeah, that was the other thing with the drags that we started on, is because my girls were really starting to really wanting to go fast, and if the ground wasn't safe, we weren't going to allow that to happen. So
yeah. Yeah. And that's like I have a little tool here at home. Like, I mean, it's not great, but I've kind of learned how to use it to break up my hard pan. Because we don't do fast work at home unless we have that hard pan broke up, because we have pancaked it out in our arena. I live in the valley here by North Platte, and it's kind of a sandy bottom, but it even sandy arenas get a hard pan, and I think that's a lot of producers, rodeo producers, jackpot producers. They get really worried about ripping a sandy arena because they worry about it getting too deep, which is a concern. But you do have to break up that hard pan, and so let's talk about that. Let's talk about how ground can make or break a run. And I come at it from a barrel racer's perspective. Does the ground conditions, how does that affect like a steer wrestling run?
well, it does. I mean, there's ground. I mean, like there's ground out in different places that it's really rolly, so it
Mhm,
makes it hard to control your feet. Feels like you got roller skates on the whole time. And I mean, then there's the total opposite. And I mean, you got hard ground, and then you got super deep ground.
mhm, mhm,
And sometimes you can't help it, right? Sometimes like you have the ground just perfect and it comes in and rains or whatever. Sometimes you just can't help some of that. That's not in our control. But I mean, you know, I'm going to use North Platte as an example because they have studied it for a long time and tried to make it, because it used to be like if a barrel racer drew up in the slack, like they weren't there wasn't very good a chance they were going to place at North
mhm,
Platte and for no fault of the ground. It got better as the week goes on, and sometimes it does. You see it at the national finals, and they've done a great job the last couple of years of making sure that ground is every night is equal and gives everybody an opportunity. Because I mean, and I'm not. I mean, Cassie Mallory rides and all them girls ride great horses, but when the 15th girl can still place after 15 runs, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And they've changed it. Like even the years I was there, that ground wasn't the same as it is now. And
Mhm.
so every arena is, like I said, it is different. I'm going to use my arena as an example. We had a hard pan. It was perfect for bulldogging because you could get it scratched about 4 inches, and I didn't have to worry about crippling steers or anything.
Mhm.
And but 4 inches is then it was pretty. It was that hard pan was there, so like,
Mhm.
and as athletic as them horses are now, man, like they can handle a lot, but if they feel like they're on ice skates, they can't. So you need to have that hard pan taken away, and and there's multiple tools that can do that.
Mhm.
But I'm not saying go get the ripper from the implement dealer and rip it as deep as you can. I'm not saying that. I'm
Mhm.
saying you got to get that hard pan gone, and then you got to filter it back to make it even and level and kind of not pack it back, but kind of make sure it comes back together and kind of forms the ground again. If
Mhm.
if that makes if that's making sense, they and then wetness has stuff to do with it because sometimes you can have it too wet, then it gets too dry, and then it changes the ground tremendously. So I mean,
Mhm.
and like I said, I'm not no expert. I've just been in a lot of arenas and seen a lot of the stuff and knew what I wanted to look for, and
Mhm.
and that's what this drag that the outlaw drag it checked all the boxes for our arena. And if you look around the state of Nebraska, there's quite a few that are starting to show up around Nebraska at committees. Sutherland Rodeo Committee bought one. Drove by Arthur, Nebraska. They have one. Thetford has one. There's a lot of them. And they didn't all come from. They didn't come from me. I'm not saying that them guys did their research as well and got them got a good drag and got a drag that fit. The Black
Mhm.
Widow drag fits North Platte right now, and they're happy with it, and it
Mhm.
does a great job. And like I said, them guys did a phenomenal job this year with the amount of water they had.
Mhm.
Um, Early in the week, and that arena was about as perfect as that I've seen it. And I went 23 years to that rodeo. This year was the 23rd year.
Mhm.
So
Did you find that because so a few years ago they changed the ground at North Platte.
yep.
And I think I drew up in slack like the first probably one of the first. I was either the first or second day, and I really felt like it was a little bit shifty at first. Like I really feel like it takes a couple years, honestly, for the ground to kind of settle in. I noticed it too when I was part of the fair board that redid the arena in Broken Bow before the Mid States finals moved there. And I really felt like that ground was a little shifty too when it first got settled in. It just wasn't settled enough, and it just takes a little while for that ground to kind of mellow and to get in place, if you'd say. So it really frustrates me, like when these committees go and fairgrounds, fair boards, when they have a demo derby in the same arena as the rodeo arena. And I won't go into all of that because I'm probably labeled as the anti-demo derby lady of central Nebraska, but it just changes it. And I don't think everybody totally understands that. And I try to go about things like more on an educational point of view versus, saying you're wrong or you're right or whatever. So anyways, did you notice that from a steer wrestling standpoint when an arena redoes their ground, does it feel different to you guys too, like it does us barrel racers?
Oh yeah, 100%. It does. It will. Um, there's ground that feels grabbier than and some that you can slide right through.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, like a lot of the Sandhills arenas, you know, uh, they're really, really grabby, mainly because that sand is so deep and
Mm-hmm.
can be, right, especially if we get in a dry year or you're towards the bottom, then when it gets worked up a lot, even though it was watered good,
Mm-hmm.
it can get grabby and stuff. But when the beginning guys could get through it good, right?
Yeah.
And you notice that. um but then there's also them ones that are just perfect every time, no matter what you do. It's really good. And so, yeah, you notice it. I we
Mm-hmm.
probably don't know. We're probably the second ones that notice it. Barrel racers are always the ones that notice it first, and and it gets talked about. But at the same time, when committees have good grounds, I feel like us as contestants, we really need to tell somebody that they did a good job.
Yes, yes, for sure. Not just being the ones to gripe about it when it isn't good. And I feel like if the ground is good for barrel racing, the entire rodeo will be so much better. Your bucking horses aren't going to slip, your bulls aren't going to slip. Your team roping horses when they hit that corner, they're going to keep their feet under them. Like if you have good ground, it's going to take that part of it out of the equation. So your athletes, whether they're animal or human athletes can shine as long as the ground is good.
And sometimes there's going to be that instance that the ground's great and horse stumbles, or the buck and horse stumbles at the same time. I mean, there is that instances, but like you said, it's kind of like I mean, you got a good in the bulldog, and you got a good horse. Like, I don't have to worry about him doing his job because he's going to do the same job every time.
Yep.
Same way with this. If you have the ground is prepared correctly and right, man, yeah, that's just one less factor you have to worry about. And excuse me, one thing that you can pride yourself on as a committee as well, that if you do have good ground, people want to come back. And barrel producers will tell you the same thing.
Mhm.
Like, they can have one time having bad ground and it hurts their number of contestants. But if they have great ground, they usually have all they want to do every event they put on.
Absolutely. Yep.
And we're very lucky in this state, um, that there's a lot of places that have really good ground, and but they've also done the research to make sure it was that way, whether it was getting an implement or bringing somebody in to help them. And that's tremendous. And there's a lot of people that feel like they know it all
Mhm.
already, because they've well, we've been doing the same thing for this many years. What do we need to change? And I
Mhm.
applaud them ones that do look out and try to change and try to make their event better,
Mhm.
because it does matter, and it does show when you have contestants show up and when you don't.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about the design of the Outlaw drag. I like the design. I don't know exactly the right term for it, where it floats independently from the tractor. It's not solid to the 3 point. So if the tractor, you know, the problem with those that are solid with the 3 point, if the tractor front goes up, the back of it goes down. And if like when there's a lot of barrel racers, and you get kind of this ridge around the barrel, and those tools that are mounted solid to the 3 point, it ends up creating big waves in the arena. And so I give you guys a lot of credit for having that floating design behind there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how it kind of levels things out?
Yep, it's kind of got an auto leveling deal per se in it, where you can adjust it manually. Like, there's some devices in there you can change some things up, or you can use it with your 3 point. You can adjust that as well. But just being able to, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is keeping the ground as level as possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of one of them deals, like, when they designed it, it was set up like they kind of looked at very like a multiple drags and combined them into
Mhm.
this drag. And there's different drags that have similar same concept, and there's no, I'm not, and that's a great, it's a great concept, and that's why it's on this drag. But we
Mhm.
have that, then you can either, there's the ripping teeth, plus we got the clod bars, and then you got the reel on the back to you can use that as a packing device, as a, and or as a floater to make it just fluff it up and make it look pretty, you know.
Mhm.
Most of the time, and then they also have a watering system that holds 400 gallons. That if you do get to a spot where it's, you feel like around the barrel's getting a little dry, you can add a little bit of water and keep it together. But yeah, it's I've been completely, in our arena, been completely pleased with how it's worked. And then I know the ones that have went other places, they've I mean, don't get me wrong, there's little adjustments each time you get something new that you got to
Mhm.
figure out what works for your arena. But man, it's pretty simple setup, just to hook onto it and adjust a few things, and you can kind of roll on with it. But it has a little bit of everything. Like I said, you can use the clod bars if you want. They can go all the way down to 12 inches, or they can be all the way up.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I mean, because if you do rip up ground in that hard pan, you don't want big chunks out there either.
Yeah.
So, and not and the reel will break it up a little bit, but if you got them clod bars down too, they'll break it up a lot.
Okay. Is there ground that seems to do better with this tool, or you've noticed that it works really well in pretty much any type of ground you put it in?
It's worked in really good ground, because I mean, I got we got really good black dirt that's really good for growing corn. Um, and I have hauled sand into our arena to, and we got kind of a good mix right now.
Mhm.
Um, so it's kind of a sandy black dirt together, and it,
Mhm.
I got pictures on Facebook and a video that I had weeds growing up in it because I left it hard because I wanted to test it and prove a point with it,
Mhm.
and ripped it up. And we got rain, and it was kind of crusted over the other day after, and I'd worked it a couple days before, and then we got, oh, I don't know, we got 2.5 inches of rain that one night, and a couple days later it crusted over, and and the girls went out there and rode around, and like the ground was, they run barrels and poles, and the ground was still perfect, you know. Just besides the little crust on top, right? It just wasn't as pretty and wasn't fluffed up. But yeah, and then all the way to, I mean, you've seen them at the high school rodeos that they've been at, and most of those are really sandy arenas,
Mhm.
and they, I've heard nothing but good things about them.
Yeah, they were used this year at Stapleton and Thedford, and it's the best I've ever seen the ground in those two arenas. It was amazing. Um, so that's kind of where I noticed it. I was like, oh, what is this? It's not black, it wasn't a Black Widow, which had been used before up there and successfully, but I really felt like the Outlaw tool, the arena drag really was I'm not sure who was running it this year, but they definitely did a great job with both of those arenas. I was really impressed.
And I know Heath Rasmussen's had that one in Thetford for a couple years and done really well. And that was,
Mhm.
and then Jason Johnston actually got that one like 3 days before Stapleton's rodeo, or 2 days, and then went in there and did a good job with it,
Mhm.
because I know I talked to him on 2 days before or whatever, and they still had rye in the arena, and he went in there and ripped it up and
Mhm.
got it going, and everybody I talked to said it was worked really good. So
Yeah, it was great. And Stapleton is one that can have a hard pan if you draw up in the first few. Boy, your horse can go down. And then if you draw up in the last few, it gets super deep. And so it is a hard hard arena to manage, but like I said, they did great with that for sure. And so I was very impressed with it for sure. So do you have different sizes that you can get? Like I have a little tractor, and so what is the smallest size that you guys offer?
Yep, 8 foot. It's 8 foot between the wheels. So
Okay.
so you got to measure the outside from outside and outside to your wheels and make sure that fits in there, and it's still pretty tight. And then so you kind of gotta adjust some things and make it. But yeah, so 8 foot. We have 8 foot, 9 foot, and then they make a 10 and 11, and then they make a racehorse drag, so it'd be wider as well. Um, I personally have a 10 foot. The 9 footer, I believe you have to have a 65 horse or better to pull the 9 footer, just because of the being able to drop the teeth down and get some drag on it. But yeah, nine's probably the most popular that's been sold um, across, and that's kind of company wide. That's kind of been the most popular.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they're 3 inches wider at the on the backside. So if it's 9 foot in between the wheels, it's 9.3 on the reel in the back end. So
Okay. Okay.
so yeah, they're various sizes. And then the price they're priced fairly reasonable. 8 foot starts at 7,000, and then they go up to 7750 for the 11 footer, and then there'll be freight depending on what we get in there. There'll be freight along with it, so anywhere from 500 to $750. So,
Okay. And you
and the
guys,
watering system and stuff is all extra as well.
okay. You guys deliver, teach people how to use them, all that.
Well, yeah, yes. Jason kind of got a crash course. He kind of did his own, and then I got a crash course a little bit myself when I got mine.
Mhm.
But yes, I do. We had one got delivered last week. I delivered one this week. Yeah, we'll deliver them to your place if needed to, or we'll set it up where the truck pulls right there close and we can drop them off. So
Okay.
we'll make it all work, just depending on how we got it all going.
Okay. So if somebody would like to talk to you more about it, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Is there a website that they should go to look at those? What's the best way to
Yep,
go?
yep. They can go to outlaw drags.com and look at them. They got some information on there. They can reach out to me. I mean, I'm on Facebook, Snapchat Messenger. They can also call me or text me, um, and then or reach out. Messenger is probably the easiest to reach out if you don't have my number and stuff. But my number is 402-768-1578. If you got questions, and if I don't answer, I will get back with you or shoot me a text.
Okay. Well, Drew, I appreciate you coming on and given us some insight as to what the Outlaw Arena Drag can do. And we appreciate everything you do, giving back to the rodeo community. And um, I appreciate having somebody other than a bulldogger, or excuse me, a barrel racer. Um, Somebody other than a barrel racer appreciate good ground and know that it is important because it is for the safety of animals and people. Uh,
Well, yes, and I appreciate you having me on, and that's true. I mean, just safety of the animal athletes that we're riding, because they're animal athletes, and everybody appreciates watching good athletes compete. So yes, I'm glad to. I'm happy that you had me ask me to come on, and I appreciate it. And hopefully we can help somebody out if they want help, and all that. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'll close it out and thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure you go check out Outlaw Arena Drags on Facebook and at their website. Give Drew a call if you're interested, you want to know more about it. and he'd be happy to set you up with a arena drag. And so, as always, let your health and your discipline be the pivot point to your success.